So, how are you doing so far in calculus? If you are enjoying it, good for you. But if you are exhausted because of it, that's okay. I can imagine how exhausting studying calculus is. Trust me, I've been there. But don't quit. Have patience to yourself and keep practicing. That's the key. Alright? So in this video, I'll be explaining to you how to apply derivative rules of transcendental functions. Okay, so transcendental functions are not algebraic functions. These are trigonometric functions, exponential functions, and logarithmic functions. They are called transcendental functions. So first is, if we have an exponential function with a base e that has a special name that's called natural exponential function. Now the derivative of that natural exponential function, or the derivative of e raised to x, is just itself. Okay, so the natural exponential function has a special case, so that its derivative is itself. So when we have derivative of e raised to x, it's just itself, e raised to x. For example, the derivative of e raised to x minus x raised to 5, ang unang gagawin, by applying difference rule, paghiwalayin sila, just get the derivative of e raised to x, then subtract that, then get the derivative of the second term, which is the derivative of x raised to 5. The derivative of e raised to x, by the derivative of natural exponential rule, the derivative of e raised to x is itself. Then the derivative of negative x raised to 5, or the derivative of x raised to 5, by power rule, 5 times 1, the quotient, multiplied to the exponent, multiplied to the coefficient, rather. So that will be 5x, then subtract 1 from 5, becomes 4. So the answer is, the derivative of e raised to x minus x raised to 5 is e raised to x minus 5x to the 4th. Another example, we have this trinomial expression, the derivative of 1 plus 2 e raised to x minus 3x. All we can do is use one of the basic differentiation rules, sum and difference rules. So get the derivative of 1. The derivative of 1 is 0, so 0. The derivative of 2 raised to x, so first get the derivative, ilabas si 2, tapos kunin yung derivative ni e raised to x. Ang derivative ni e raised to x is just itself, so 2 times e raised to x is just itself then. 2 e raised to x then, okay? Minus the derivative of 3x is 3, right? So the final answer is 0 plus 2 e raised to x minus 3 is just equal to 2 e raised to x minus 3. That's the final answer. Another example, trinomial again. Then we can you can use sum and difference rule, since we have a minus and minus and add symbol, or negative and positive symbol, so use sum and difference rule. Derivative of x squared, again, derivative of x squared is 2x by power rule. Derivative of minus derivative of 6x raised to 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 3, then copy the variable, subtract 1 from 3, becomes 2, right? Next, plus the derivative of 8 e raised to x is itself, 8 e raised to x, right? So that's the final answer. Okay, so that's for the natural exponential function. Now for the general exponential function, that means the difference between general and natural, magkaiba ang base nila. Si natural is e lang ang base niya. But si general, it could be any number. Could be any real number, hindi lang si e. Wag lang si e. Okay? That is for general. So kapag ang derivative daw ni a raised to x is just equal to a raised to x, copy mo lang daw yun, then ln a, whatever the value of a. Okay? So, for example, the derivative of 5x, so hindi e yung base, it's a real number but not e. So, therefore, ang derivative niyan ay 5, copy mo lang daw yun, yung function na yun, then ln 5, whatever the a, ang a natin ay 5, so therefore ln a is ln 5. Okay, so that's the final answer. Another example, find the derivative of 3x minus 3x. 3 raised to x minus 3x. So first, apply differentiation rule, sum rule, difference rule rather, since it has negative sign. So derivative of 3x using general exponential rule, then is itself, the derivative of 3x is itself ln 3. Okay, so because a is 3 minus derivative of 3x is 3. So that's the final answer. Right? Alright. Another example. What is the derivative of 6x 6 raised to x minus 4 plus 3x squared? Again, using sum and difference rule, get the derivative of each term. So derivative of 6x is 6x itself, ln 6, minus derivative of 4 is equal to 0, so minus 0, or kahit hindi na natin sulat, plus na lang. Derivative of 3x squared, so multiply the exponent 2 to the 3, sum and by power rule, constant multiple rule, 2 times 3 is 6, then subtract 1 from the exponent, 2 becomes 1 na lang, or just simply 6x, and that's the final answer. Right? Now, let's move on to the derivative of natural logarithmic function. So we're done with the natural exponential function and the general exponential function. Moving on to the logarithmic function. Another transcendental function, logarithmic functions. The derivative of ln x, when we see ln x, it's called natural because ln x is just equal to log with the base e of x. Okay? When the base of the logarithmic is e, that is natural exponential or natural logarithmic function. It can be written this way, ln x, right? So the derivative of ln x is just equal to 1 over x. 1 over x. For example, applying the natural logarithmic rule. So the derivative of ln x plus 4 x raised to 4 minus 3. Ang gagawin lang dyan, applying sum and difference rule, kunin ang bawat derivative ng bawat term. Okay, kinuha natin bawat derivative ng bawat term. Derivative of ln x is 1 over x. So 1 over x, ang derivative ng x raised to 4 ay 4x cubed. Right? So multiply the exponent to the coefficient 1. So 4 times 1 is 4. Subtract 1 from the exponent, so becomes 3. Derivative of constant is 0, so wala na siyang di na kasama. So that's just the final answer. Example 2. Derivative of 2x squared minus 4 ln x. Ang gagawin natin, ang unang gagawin, kunin applying difference rule, multiply natin. So the answer is the derivative of this function is equal to 2, the exponent multiplied to the coefficient 2, so 4, then subtract 1 from the exponent, will be just 4x raised to 1, or just 4x, minus 4, then ilabas si constant na 4, kuhanin ang derivative ng ln x. The derivative of ln x is 1 over x. Therefore, simplifying, 4x minus 4 times 1 is just 4 over x. Okay? So 4 over x. So that's the final answer. Okay? So that's for the natural logarithmic functions. Now, move on to the trigonometric functions, another member of transcendental functions. The derivative of cosine the derivative of sine. So always remember this. These are the rules of trigonometric functions. To get the derivative of sine x is just cosine x. Derivative of cosine x is negative sine x. I will not be proving this kung paano na ko yung mga derivative niya. Basta yan yung mga derivative niya. Okay? So, derivative of sine x is cosine x. Derivative of cosine x is negative sine x. Always remember that derivative of tangent x is secant squared x. Derivative of cotangent x is negative cosecant squared x. Derivative of secant x is secant x tan x. So secant x multiplied tan x. Derivative of cosecant x is equal to negative cosecant x times cot x, or negative cosecant x cot x. Okay, so applying these trigonometric rules to solve problems or trigonometric functions. For example, find the derivative of secant x plus 5 sine x. Ang unang gagawin, paghiwalay-hiwalay natin sila, applying sum rule. No? So, hiwalayin, kunin ang derivative ng first term, tapos kunin din yung derivative ng second term. So, magkakaroon tayo ng derivative of secant x plus the derivative of 5 sine x. Ang derivative ng secant x, according to the second rule, derivative of secant x is secant x tan x. So, kinopya natin. Okay, so ilabas yung constant na 5, kunin ang derivative ni sin x. Ang derivative ni sin x ay cosine x. So, ipasok si cosine x. Pinasok natin ang derivative. Therefore, the final answer is secant x tan x plus 5 cos x. That's the derivative of secant x plus 5 sin x. Okay? Another example. The derivative of 3x squared plus 2 cosecant x. Again, applying some rules since plus sign yan. So, kunin ang derivative ng first term, then kunin ang derivative ng second term. Derivative of 3x squared, alam natin na ang 3x squared, applying Cont's multiple rules, kakaroon tayo ng 2 multiply kay 3, 6x. Because subtract 1 from 2 is just 1, or x raised to 1 is just x. Plus the derivative of ilabas daw si constant na 2, tapos kunin ang derivative ni cosecant x. Ang derivative ni cosecant x ay negative cosecant x, so negative cosecant x CSCX cot x. Now simplifying that, we get 6x minus 2x minus 2 cosecant x cot x. Right? So that's the final answer. Ganyan lang kadali sa pagkuha ng trigo function. Kailangan mo lang ma-memorize, ma-familiarize itong mga trigo functions. Trigonometric rules. Okay? So third example. Find the derivative of x, or find the derivative of y is equal function y, which is equal to x secant x. So as you can notice, meron tayong dalawang function dito, guys. Si x dito ay that's a f function, and the secant x is actually the g function. Two functions po ito. Kasi si x is another function, si secant x is another function. Si x ay algebraic function, si secant x ay trigo functions. Ang pwede natin gawin dyan, since meron tayong dalawang function na pinag-multiply, apply natin ang product rule. Product rule, kailangan natin malaman ang first function at saka second function. Tapos kunin yung mga derivative nila. Derivative ng x is 1. Alam natin yan, identity rule. Derivative ng secant x, ito yan. Secant x tan x. Applying product rule. Ang product rule is y prime is equal to f prime times g plus f times g prime. So, si f prime natin ay si 1. Ito yun, binaba. Si g natin ay secant x, so binaba. Ang ating f ay si x, ito. Ang ating g prime ay ito, secant x tan x. Simplifying, 1 times secant x is just secant x. X times secant x tan x is just x secant x tan x. Therefore, that's the final answer. Okay? Diba? Madali lang. Trigonometric function. Another example. So we can pause the video and try this one. Find the derivative of y is equal to sine x over x cubed. As you can see, this is meron na tayong in the form of f of x over g of x. So, apply na natin si quotient rule. Para makuha si y prime, need nating identify sino ang f of x, sino ang g of x natin. Ang f of x yung numerator, si sin x. Ang g of x ay yung x cube, yung denominator. Find both the derivative of each function. Derivative of sin x is cosine x. Ito po. Derivative ni x cube is 3x squared. 3 times 1 is 3. Subtract 3 from the exponent becomes 2. Subtract 1 from the exponent, rather, becomes 2. So g prime of x is 3x squared. Applying the quotient rule, since meron tayong in the form of f of x over g of x, ang derivative ng f of x over g of x ay this. F prime times g minus f times g prime all over the g squared. Pasok-pasok yung sino yung mga yon, si f prime natin, ito po yun, cosine x, pinasok natin. Ang ating g ay si x squared, x cube. Ang ating minus, ang ating f is si sin x, kinopya lang natin yan. Ito. Ang ating g prime ay 3x squared. So, kinopya natin. Okay? Tapos, ang ating denominator ay in-square natin, g squared. So, g squared ay x cube raised to 2. Okay? Now, simplify natin. What is cosine x? What is cosine x times x cube? That is just x cube cosine x. Pwede namang pagbalik ta rin. Yun lang yun. X cube cosine x or cosine x cube. Pwede rin yan. Okay? So, pero nauna yung algebraic function kaysa trigo function. Minus, what is the product of sin x 3x cube at 3x squared? That is just equal to 3x squared times sin x. Pinagbaliktad lang din. Or just pwede naman to, copy lang. Then simplify yung denominator. Kapag meron kang exponent na binigyan pa ng exponent, multiply mo lang yan. So 2 times 3 is 6. Therefore, x raised to 6 yung denominator. Simplifying, what is x? Ilan yung x cube? Bawasan ng ilang x cube nandyan sa x squared? Okay, so dito muna. Umpisa natin. Dito ang matitira na lang dito ay, so kailangan nating magkaroon ng equal na common denominator. Dapat 4. So, nabawasan ng dalawa, binawasan ng dalawa dito. Kaya isa na lang natira. X raised to 1 na lang. Again, binawasan ng dalawa, kaya x4 na lang. Binawasan ng dalawang x, no? Kaya naging x raised to 4 na lang. Ito rin binawasan ng dalawa. X na lang natira. Ito rin bawasan ng dalawa, kaya wala nang matira. So 3 na lang. Sin x. That's the final answer. Ganun laging gawin nyo kapag ganito ang situation, ipagpantay nyo. Dapat magkaroon sila ng common denominator. Kung ilan yung ibabawas. Malalaman nyo kung ilan yung ibabawas doon sa may variable na pinakamalit ng exponent. In this case, 2. So, therefore, si x squared, yun yung ibabawas sa lahat ng mga may x. Okay? Siya yung may pinakamalit na exponent na variable. Okay, you can try this one. So, pause the video, try this on your own. Combining the logarithmic function and the trigonometric function and algebraic function. So, pwede mo siyang i-pause ang video, you can solve it on your own. So, ganito siya i-solve. Derivative, kunin mo lang yung derivative ng bawat term. Derivative ng 3x to the 4th, 4 times 3 becomes 12, subtract 1 from 4 becomes 3. So, 12x cubed. Plus, derivative ng cosine x, alam natin na negative sin x. By the cosine rule. Okay? Now, derivative of 5 ln x, ilabas daw si constant, di ilabas. Ang derivative ng ln x is 1 over x. Simplifying, 12x cubed plus, so that will become minus because positive times negative will be negative. So, negative sin x minus 5 times 1 is 5 over x. Okay, so that's the final answer. Last one. Pause the video again, try this on your own. You're done? Good. Now, the derivative of f of x is equal to negative 10 second x plus 1 over x. Again, applying some rule. Tapos, kunin yung derivative ng bawat term. So, derivative ng, ay ilabas ang constant, 10. Tapos, ang derivative ng secant x ay is equal to secant x tan x. Ito yan. Okay? So, derivative ng secant x ay ito. Secant x tan x. Derivative of 1 over x, we can rewrite that. 1 over x, we can rewrite that as x raised to negative 1. So, the derivative of x raised to negative 1 is just negative 1x or just simply negative x raised to negative 2. Kaya ito yun. Okay? Kasi negative 1 times 1 is just negative 1. But in algebra, we don't write 1. Okay? That's understandable na may 1 na yan. Then negative 1, subtract 1 from there, so it becomes negative 2. Okay? So ito yan. Simplify. 10 times secant x tan x is just negative 10 secant x tan x. Yun lang yun. Then plus. Then it will become negative because plus times negative or positive times negative will be negative. Then this one. Write it into fraction form. 1 over this x raised to positive 2 na instead of negative 2 kasi nag-fraction ka na by exponential property. Okay? So that's your final answer. Alright? So that's it. That's how you apply the logarithmic, exponential, and trigonometric functions, the rules to find the derivative of these functions, trigonometric functions, natural logarithmic functions, and the exponential functions. Right? You can try this on your own, these 3 items. If you have questions, you can message me or you can comment in this video. Alright? Have a great day.